So, do you have any right to claim against the police if you or your family member uh, are victims of a crime? What's the position if the police knew that you were at risk from a particular person? Now, this was considered by the House of Lords in 2008 in two cases. One was Van Cole and another against the Chief Constable of Hertfordshire, and the other was Smith against the Chief Constable of Essex. In the Van Cole case, a man was due to go on trial for theft. In the weeks leading up to his trial, he approached various witnesses, including Erwin Van Cole's son, Giles, who was due to give evidence. There were incidents of fire damage to the property of various witnesses, and the accused telephoned Giles twice. The second telephone call was aggressive and threatening. Shortly after the second telephone call, Giles was shot dead by the accused, and his dad, Mr. Van Cole, sued the police for failing to protect Giles from the risk of serious harm, saying that the police should have been well aware of that. In the second case, Stephen Smith was the victim of persistent and threatening telephone, text, and internet messages from his former partner, including the threat to kill him. Now, he gave the police details of his former partner's home address, what the messages were, and the history of violence in the relationship. And the police did little other than tracing the calls. And shortly after that, Mr. Smith was attacked at his home by the former partner and sustained significant injuries, and he sued the police. Now, in both cases, the House of Lords found in favour of the police. In Mr. Van Cole's case, the court said that there was only a duty if the police knew or ought to have known at the time of the existence of a real and immediate risk to the life of an identified individual from the criminal acts of a third party, and had failed to take measures which would have avoided that risk. It was no different if the threats were made against a witness. To establish liability, there would have needed to be something like explicit death threats. The court held that it could not reasonably have been anticipated by the police from the information available to them that there was a real and immediate risk of murder to Giles. So Mr. Van Cole lost his action. In Mr. Smith's case, the court held that it was a core principle of public policy that unless there were special circumstances, the police owed no duty under common law to protect individuals from harm caused by criminals. And the reason is this: if there was such a duty on the police, it would encourage defensive policing and divert manpower and resources from the primary function of the police, which was to suppress crime. And it's clear from these cases that it remains very difficult for victims of crime to sue the police.